Hey guys, and welcome to another live stream here on the channel. My name is Alex, and welcome to this new live stream. In today's live stream, we are going to create a banking website using Adobe XD, and make sure to check out the practice file. Links are located in the description of this live stream. Before we get started, the usual housekeeping, make sure to check out my courses on alexondesign.co. Over there, I have over 30 courses all about Adobe XD, UI UX design, social media design, and so much more. So make sure to check them out. Also, there are practice files for these YouTube videos and live streams there on the site, so make sure to check it out. And also, I have my digital design products, and there are over 500 digital design products over there, including my Inception design system. And speaking about Inception design system, it's the biggest design system for Adobe XD of its kind anywhere online. So make sure to check it out on inceptiondesignsystem.co, and make sure to head on over to my YouTube channel, which is Alex on Design over there, to check out the full course all about Inception design system if you're interested to see how it works. And I mentioned my YouTube channel, Alex on Design. Make sure to subscribe, where I have over 300 videos all about Adobe XD, UI UX design tips, including these live streams. Finally, make sure to check me out on Behance. I'm Web Donut over there, which is sort of my business page, and there you can find all my projects, including some projects I did for Adobe just recently. But as I mentioned, you can check out my courses on alexondesign.co, and that's especially important today because the design we're going to create today is taken from one of my courses, which is Adobe XD Masterclass, and it has over 20 hours of video content, and it has massive practice files over there, and I'm going to show you what's included inside. And just for this live stream, I'm going to give you a coupon code 50% off about this course. So make sure to head on over to Alex on Design, check out that course, which is Adobe XD Masterclass, and make sure to check it out over there to see what's included inside. But before I show you all of that, let me hide all of this and let me say hi to the chat. Hi everybody, hi Arif, and hi everybody who is watching today. And now let's jump inside. I'm going to show you what we're going to be creating today, and then I'm going to show you what's actually included in that course if you decide to roll in. So here is the practice file for today. This is what we are going to be creating today. We're going to create this banking website for younger generation, and that's especially important because we are going to talk about the target audience in that course. So if you decide to roll in, you're going to notice how to target the right audience for your design, how to choose the right colors for your design, how to talk the right language to right audience. We're going to speak about all of that in that course. So if you decide to roll in, make sure to check out all of those lessons. And this is just the first page. I'm going to show you what's included in the final practice file in that course. But for now, let's quickly scroll about what we are going to be covering today. So we are going to create these hover effects on our buttons. When I scroll a bit down, if we have time, we are also going to create these hover effects right here. And excuse the bugging a little bit because I have, I think, 5 different Adobe XD files open up at the same time. So let me actually switch on over to myself and let's try to fix that. Just a second. So here we go. So here we have that hover effect which I mentioned. So we are going to create this card. You can see that the icon is going to change the color, and the text right here is going to change the color, and we are going to have this icon right here, and the same for these 2 cards as well. Once again, sorry about the bugging. We will have exchange rate right here. So all of the currencies, of course, this is the previous date. We are going to include today's date. We will have this section with the same hover effect. We will have these 2 cards with the offerings, with the hover effect on the button. And finally, we're going to have these cards right here hovering, and these are just the previous dates. I'm going to update the dates, and finally at the bottom we will have this nice footer. So this is the practice file you're going to get if you decide to download it, and it's free. This practice file is because we're going to create the page that you just saw. What I have right here is the artboard. If I select it, you can see it's 1920 by 1080, and we have 12 column grid with a gutter layout of 60 and the column width of 82, margins left and right 138. And if you open up these ones on the left hand side, you will see that we have some basic colors, we have some character styles, we have some components, and we have images, flags, icons, services, so all of these things that you saw right here. And for today's live stream, we are not going to be using videos, as you can see right here. But so this is what we are going to be creating today. As you can see, it's quite simple. It's just a landing page, but let me now switch you over to the practice file, which we are going to be using inside of that course if you decide to roll in and see what's included inside as well. So here is that practice file. You can see it's called New Bank Website Design, and we have many more components here because this is basically the finished project. And here we have the website architecture, and inside of that lesson I speak about how to create one and how to navigate your users throughout your website. You can use website architecture in website design, obviously, but you can also do the same thing, which is called user flows, and you can use user flows in your mobile apps as well. I recently did Adobe Live, and I explained in that Adobe Live how to create that and how to integrate that into your design to make your users more familiar with the flow and how they are going to orient throughout your app or your website. Then we are going to tackle paper wireframes, and you can see right here that we created multiple of these papers for multiple different pages. After that, we switch on over to wireframes, and we created just a basic layout of all of these wireframes. This is the page we are going to be creating today. And as well, I created some login and sign out pages. And finally, we created a dashboard page from which we're going to branch out into the design section. Speaking about design section, this is the design, and this is the page which I showed you. And you can see, of course, we will create multiple different pages inside of that course. So once again, if you are interested, make sure to check it out. I'm going to post the link in a chat, and you can also go to alexondesign.co, check it out over there, and make sure to use the coupon code LIVE to get a 50% off, and I'm going to show you how to do that in just a second. So here we have all of these designs, and if I switch you over right here, you can see instead of just one dashboard page, we have, let's check it out, 4, 6, 7 different pages for the dashboard. And then after we finished with the design, we are going to move on to responsive design. In it, I'm going to show you how to create this page to be responsive on multiple different sizes for multiple different screens. And finally, we are going to do the same for dashboard design, and we are going to just do this one page because the course would be 200 hours long and nobody wants to see that. So inside of those lessons, I'm going to take you through step by step as to what you need to create in order to achieve that responsive design. Finally, I'm going to show you how to create the project style guide, which you can share with your developers, with typography, with colors, with iconography, and all of these things. We have some graphics inside. And finally, we are going to also tackle the project presentation, and I'm going to explain to you how can you present your project at the end and how can you actually show it to your clients. So as you can see, there is quite a lot that is done inside of this course. Make sure to check it out once again, and let me close this file really quickly so that we are not burdened with it. And here is that page. Let me show you really quickly. So go to this page, make sure to scroll over and make sure to read what everything is inside of here. And when you're done, you can click on any one of these enroll buttons if you want to. Click on them. It's going to take you to the checkout page, which you can see right here, and make sure to click right here where it says add coupon code. Click there, simply type in live and hit apply, this button right here. And as you can see, it's going to lower it down to 50% discount. Make sure to use this discount because I don't give out these discounts too often, so make sure to use this opportunity. Once again, make sure to head on over to the link which is in the chat. Make sure to click there and make sure to enroll in this course, not to miss out on this opportunity. And let me quickly check the chat before we get started. Hi Emmanuel, nice to have you right here. Hi Arif. Hey everybody, nice of you to be here. And now without any further ado, before we get started, actually as per usual, I was using files from Envato Elements, and if you're watching my live streams all the time, you know that it's one of my favorite websites, of course, apart from Adobe Stock. And this is the collection for this design which we are going to be using today. Here we have the logo. Then we have this image which I actually cut out in Photoshop to remove the background. We have all of these different images. We have these different icons left and right. So make sure if you decide to use this project that we are going to create today in your commercial use, in your portfolio, in your work with clients, you have to license these files if you decide to use it for something like that. So there is the collection. Link is also in the description. And now, without any further ado, let's get started. Let me check the chat once again. Hey everybody, so nice of you to be here and to join me today. So without any further ado, as I said, let's get started. So the first thing which I'm going to do is actually hide myself so you can see the screen a bit better. And we are going to start with that top navigation right here. But before we do, let's actually expand this all the way down because we will need this artboard to be a lot bigger. Let's leave it somewhere around here. And now let's get started. So first things first, I'm going to create that top navigation and that top bar, if you want to call it that. So let's give it a height of, let's say 70, for example, and width of 1920 because that's the width of our artboard. Let's snatch it to the side, get rid of the border and apply this text dark color. I'm also going to be using it right here. Now let me open up my icons and I'm going to draw in this location icon, drag and drop it inside like this. Because it's a component, you can simply drag and position it wherever you want and make sure it's snapped in the center. And before I move on any further, what I want to do is rename this to, let's say, top nav bg, something like that. And now let's switch on over to the text file, hit T on your keyboard, and I'm going to type in our locations, something like this. And I'm going to switch on over right here and use 18, Poppins 18. And instead of this color, what we can do is use this, which is light gray for the footer, but it's going to work here as well. And the one thing to remember is to name your layers, name your fonts, name all of the things that you are working on to make sure to easily get across and to make sure to understand them a bit better and to understand what everything is. And here for the distances, what we can do is use the distance of 20, for example. So shift 1, 2, and I'm going to select these two, hit Control G or Command G and type in locations like so. And the last thing, I'm going to apply the stack right here, and you can see it applied the distance of 20 as I told them to. So I'm going to now hit Control D or Command D, and here I'm going to type in something like for business like that. And I'm also going to duplicate it one more time and give it a number. So plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So just a dummy number. And also I'm going to drag and drop some flags right here in just a second. But before I do, this is going to be phone like so. And I can simply jump inside, double click on this icon, and I'm going to switch on over to here, and I'm going to use the phone icon. So simply drag and drop it inside. When it's blue, let go, and it's going to fill in, and it's going to keep the same distance of 20, which is why we applied that stack. I'm going to move it right here. And finally, for the locations, I'm going to ungroup this because I don't need the icon for this. Position it right here, and let's see, now we can move this for business right around here. Make sure it's left aligned the text, it is. And I'm going to move this phone right around here, switch on over to here, and you can see we have the flags. We have small flags, which is this and this. Because my local language here is Serbian, I'm going to drag and drop these two flags, and Serbia is going to be grayed out because this website is obviously going to be on English language. So let's select these two, let's select the background, click right here, there we go. And I'm going to select these two, hit Control or Command G to group them, and I'm going to call this one flags. Oops, flags, there we go. And I'm going to just make sure that it is centered. It is. Position this to be roughly around here, maybe. I think it's too close. So maybe position it, I don't know, here somewhere. See what that looks like. Actually, let's position it here. There we go. And I'm just going to reduce the distance between these flags. Let's see, it's 42 now. Let's give it 30, for example, and just move it right here. There we go. And now that all of it is completed, let's move this right here, select all of it, hit Control or Command G, and I'm going to call it top nav, for example. There we go. And now the next thing for me is to create that hero section for the people and where they are going to go. So I'm going to use the rectangle tool. There we go. Let's check the chat really quickly. You guys have been a bit quiet today, so let me know where you guys are coming from and if you're following this live stream. So I'm going to call this hero BG. There we go. 1920 for the width, and for the height, let's go with something like 900. There we go. I'm going to snap it right here, and I'm going to use this text gray footer color, which is this light gray color. And now let's do some elements and some tweaking. Before I do, I'm going to put the text inside, so use T, and I'm going to call it something like new bank for a new age, like that. And I'm going to use the biggest one, which is this one, and I already saved these. You can see it's Poppins, it's free Google and Adobe font, so you can use it right away. Now this next text at the bottom, we are going to use 24 regular. There we go. And I'm going to use this text to speed things up a little bit. So discover why we are the best bank for millennials. And the distance between these can be, let's say 40 maybe. There we go. Hit Control D on that one to duplicate it. Type in learn more. There we go. And that's going to be the text for our button. Now for the button itself, let's use the 3-column button, so quite big one, something like that. And as for the height, let's go with something like 70, because this is 70, so we are just keeping that distance. Get rid of the border, and let's see, for the corner radius, let's go with 10 all around, so on every corner it's going to have the same corner radius. And let's call it BTNBG. There we go. Move it just below this text, position the text in the center, and make sure that the text is centrally justified right here. There we go. And for the button background, I'm going to go ahead and use that main color. For the text, I'm going to use the white color, like so. And now I'm going to group these two, call it main BTN. There we go. Hit Control K to create a component and create a hover state. Call it hover. Inside of the hover state, all I want to do is basically replace this color with this color. And now I can go back to my default state. Now here I have 80. I want to have the same distance of 40. There we go. And I'm going to group it. Call it text and apply the stack, which is going to be the vertical stack in this case. There we go. And I'm going to just nudge it down a little bit here with this section. It is at the top here. We are 1920. Let me just check. There we go. Everything is fine. And now that this is completed, what I can do is create that navigation really quickly. So to do that, I'm going to actually position this just below here, use another rectangle, and this time we are going to go with 12 columns wide, something like that. Let's go with 120 for the height, and 1644 is for the width, and here we are going to have the 10 for the corner radius, like so. And then let's use something like without border. Let's go with drop shadow. Get rid of this notification, and let me actually hide myself so you can see a bit better what I am doing. And here for the drop shadow, let's go with something like 10, 20 and 20. And let's see, for the opacity, I can lower it down to something like 8 maybe, something like that. And let's go with the background blur as well. For the background blur, let's use 20, let's use 15, and finally 50%, something like that. So if I hit Control Enter really quickly, you can see how that preview looks like. And I still think that this drop shadow is just a bit stronger. So we're going to lower it down to maybe 6, and let's test it out now. Yeah, I think it works just fine. And for the distance here, let's go with something like 50. So let's go with 50 like that. And then finally, let's create a rectangle from here to the bottom edge of our hero section and group these two. position it like so, so it is in the center of this space between the bottom edge of our hero background and the bottom edge of our navigation. So I'm going to call this nav bg, or main nav bg, even better. There we go. And here I'm going to include that logo, so just drag and drop it inside. There we go. Position it in the center, and for the distances, let's go with 40 from this edge, maybe something like that. Just make sure it is in the center. There we go. And now let's use the text. So I'm going to use the T for the text tool in accounts. There we go. And here I'm going to use this 18, which I think is going to work much better in this case. Make sure it's in the center like this. Put it in a group, Control G or Command G on a Mac, and I'm going to call this main nav items. Once again, really important to name your layers. It's going to be super simple for you to understand where everything is and to organize a bit better. So here I'm going to go ahead and hit Control D to duplicate this, but before I do, actually I need to jump inside, select the accounts, and then hit Control or Command B. Here I'm going to type in loans, because this is another product that the bank is offering. Cards, there we go. Control D, invest, if you want to make an investment, and finally digital. There we go. And for the distances between these, now it's 10, let's bump it up to 80. There we go. And I'm going to make sure to select all of these and switch them over to right justify. So when I start typing later, if I need to change something or add another nav item, it's going to move from right to left, and it's not going to interact with my button, which I'm going to create right now. So let's put this right here. Let's slide this all right here, and let's actually select this button. Hit Control C, Control V right here. Move it right here in the center, like so. There we go. And I'm going to actually get rid of this component. So I'm going to right click, ungroup component, Control G one more time. And this is going to be small BTMBG like this, because this button is actually going to be a bit smaller than the original button. The text is going to say log in like so. And finally, for the width of this button, let's go with something smaller. So instead of this width, let's go with 224, for example, something like that. Make sure that the text is in the center. There we go, small BTN like so. Control K or Command K on a Mac to turn it into a component. And you remember, because we just created the previous one, click right here, add a hover state, call it hover like so. And inside of the hover state, all I want to do is simply change this to hover color. There we go. Now that that's finished, switching over to the default state, make sure this is in the center. It is, there we go. And finally, for the height and the width, yeah, actually let's leave it like this, because this is 70 and this is 70 as well. So just make sure to keep those same heights. In the original example, it was actually 60, but I'm going to keep it 70 just to keep the same height. And here the distance between these two, because we put 80 right here for the distances between these nav items, let's actually use the same distance. So shift left arrow, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. There we go. And now our navigation is completed. Let's select the logo, main nav items, small button, main nav BG, Control G to put this in a group, call it main nav like so, and leave it right there. So if we hit Control Enter one more time, show you what we created. Now we have this hover effect, we have this hover effect, and our navigation has been completed. As you can see, English has been selected, Serbian has been grayed out because the website is in English, and we have this top nav. There we go. Now let's move on to the people in the frame. Let me actually check the chat. Hi Arif, nice to see you here. It doesn't matter if you're from Bangladesh or from Mexico or from USA. It's great that you are here, and thank you for watching. Hi Kail, hi Manish, and hi Parabellum. Hey everybody, nice of you to be here. Let me know if the music is too loud. Can you actually hear me over the music? And For those of you who are just joining me, we are using the file from my Adobe XD masterclass. Make sure to check out the link in a chat and to go to alexondesign.co. Make sure to locate Adobe XD masterclass, go to the checkout page when you click there and apply the coupon code LIVE to get the 50% off this course. Now let's go back to the design and let's see what we created previously. Now we have to create that image, so go to our images folder, happy couple, there they are, drag and drop them inside like so. And actually what I'm going to do is right click and ungroup this component to leave it just as image, because it's much simpler to navigate and to organize. And you can see the blur effect happening right here. So if I position their heads right here, you can see why we applied the background blur effect, and the effect is already coming through. And if I take you right here, what we have is these icons, services icons. So we are going to be using them today, and actually forgot to add these shapes. So to do that a bit quicker, what I'm going to do is select my shapes like so, drag and drop them right here. And here what I have is the cross or the X or however you want to call it, just basically two lines like this. If I take you to here, you can see we have one rectangle and another, and the corner radius is 10. Then we have this circle, which is the border of 10, if I show you right here. And finally we have this line, which is just a squiggly line done with a pen tool, and here we have the size of 10. If you want and enroll in the course, you are going to see how I created it, but as you can see, these shapes are super basic. So I'm going to just leave it right there, leave this right here, and leave this right around here. Somewhere around here, I can even rotate it just a touch to something like this maybe. And the reason for that is if I select my hero BG, what I want to do is use a pen tool, click right around here, then here, because I want to create a nice and simple pen shape. So around here maybe, and all the way to here. And I'm going to use this right here, hold my shift key, click down here, hold my shift, click down here to close the shape, get rid of the border, come right here and apply this gradient. And if I switch on the fill, you can see how it looks like. So we're going to call it BG or hero gradient, and I'm going to place it right behind my happy couple, so they are going to stand out a bit more. And finally, you can add additional shapes inside if you want to. So in my original example, I just added the circle in the background and I just masked it. So if I copy that circle, paste it in, you can see how that looks like. And here, if I hide myself really quickly, just to show you, you can see that we have the same background blur effect, just now 50, 50 and 12 for the opacity. And if you smack it right in the background like so, you can see that the couple is standing out a bit better. But now we have the issue because we need to mask it out, and what you can do is duplicate the hero BG and call it mask, for example, just on top of your hero circle, shift control M, there we go. And now the mask is inside of the bounds of this hero image. So let's call it BG circle. And if you decide to move it, you can select it, hold the shift and right left arrows like so, and there we go. And finally, I'm going to position this right around here maybe, because this is a circle, it symbolizes the, let's say, unity or joining or something like that. They are happy because they are the member of this bank. And let's now select all of our elements like this. And let's see, main nav and all up to here, Control G. And I'm going to call this hero like that. And let me check the chat one more time and see. Paraballoon, please write on English, because majority of people are watching here and writing in English, so make sure to write in English as well. But what he is asking is it possible to turn the interface from Adobe XD automatically to HTML and CSS? If you decide to share for development, so you can come right here to the share tab, and here instead of design review, you can use development. You're going to get CSS from your design. You're going to get all the code snippets for the CSS, values, distances, margins, padding, color, fonts, all of it inside of the CSS. And if you decide to export this as HTML, which personally I don't really recommend, because there are much better way to get the code like Webflow, which I will always recommend. But if you still decide to be lazy and to turn this directly into HTML, you can come right here where it says plugins, switch on over to all of your plugins, click right here and search for HTML. Make sure to read the reviews, make sure to see how many downloads the plugin has, and then make sure to install it. After you've done that, you can generate the HTML from that plugin. You can share for development to get the CSS, and there are also plugins who are going to do the both. There is Anima, for example, but as I said, I don't really recommend doing that because the code is just not that clean as when you write it yourself. So make sure to check that out and make sure to use Webflow. It's just super simple. So let's continue where we left off here. What we need next is that section where it says tailor-made services. Tailor-made services, like that. And just for the time's sake, because we are already 30 minutes in, I'm not going to animate that last section. So let's make it static. So let's use 48 right here. Make sure it's center aligned, position it in the center. And from here, what we can do is maybe round our values to 100. So something like this is going to work out just fine. So tailor-made services, it's in the center, 100 from here, and you can check the distances by holding Alt or Option on a Mac, and the distances are going to pop out. So next, let's use the rectangle tool to turn this into a card. Because we have 12 columns, the card is going to be 4 columns wide as per usual. We are going to use something like 20 for the corner radius right here. We are going to get rid of the border, and let's see for the background color, I don't know what we can use. So let's see. Maybe we can use that light gray color, which is this one. Let's see how it looks like, because I don't know if I should be using this. Yeah, I think it's going to work just fine as long as we get rid of the border, like so. There we go. And let's see, let me check the original and see if that is that color. It is. Okay, so for the distances here, let's go with 100. So same like up there. Hold the Alt or Option, you can see the distance here is 100. And finally for the height, let's go with something smaller like 546. There we go. And now let's go ahead and close this and locate our icon at the bottom. So these service icons. First one is going to be this personalized account, which is a service that the bank is offering. Make sure to snap it right around here. And let's see, maybe 20 for the distances, or 40 even better, because we used 40 at the top. So shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And you can type in personalized. So just the size is going to be 24 bold here. So let's switch it over to here, 24 bold. There we go. Make sure it's left aligned. Make sure to position it right here to be 40. And we're going to also go with 40 from here. Like so, Control D to duplicate this. And let's see, because we need a paragraph, and the paragraph is going to be 18 regular, like so. And I'm going to extend it just a bit. So I'm going to position it inside of the text box like this, and I'm going to make my distances 40 all the way around. Let me actually grab my original text and not lose any time, like so. There we go. And finally, what we need to create is that learn more text. So I'm going to duplicate this one, Control or Command D, position it right here, get rid of the box. So make sure to use this option right here, and I'm going to type in learn more. There we go. And I'm going to apply this main green color and also use that icon. Let's find it, arrow icon, drag and drop it inside. There we go, like this. And I'm going to position it, let's say 20, for example. And I'm going to group it, Control G, call this learn more. and create a simple hover effect by using Ctrl K to turn it into a component, create a hover state like this. And for the hover, what we can do is just move this arrow 20 pixels to the right. There we go. And I'm going to organize these a bit better. This is going to be, let's see, services, card, PG. Once again, it's really important to name all of your layers like so. And let's see what we've done so far. So hopefully you guys are enjoying this, and let me know for the music, is it too loud or not. So finally this, I'm going to nudge it to be 40 pixels from the bottom and 60 from here, just to have some distance, a bit more like this. Oops, I have to go with 40 and 44 right here. It's going to be just fine. So now that that's completed, what I can do is group all of it like this, Control G, and call it card 1 like this. And let me quickly organize these. So learn more is going to go at the bottom, icon is going to go to the top, personalized accounts, and this right here, there we go. Control G to group this card, and I'm going to call them cards. And we're going to use the stack, duplicate them 2 times, and jump inside of here and add 60, because if you remember, that's the gutter width between our columns, and that's why we used that margin. Finally, use the rename function, rename this card number 2, card number 3, and then simply select this icon, drag and drop another icon. So here we are going to use this money, there we go. And for here we are going to use this card icon. Just when it comes blue, that's where you can let go. And let me actually double click and rename this to customize savings. There we go. And if you're a member of my membership, I'm going to go and leave this file later inside of the membership, which is going to be completely filled in. So if you decide to check out and to work all of my layers to see what I did, how I create things, then you're free to do just that. Here we have default state. Let's hit Control Enter to preview it. Like so. So here the hover effects work. If we scroll a bit down, learn more works, as you can see. So all of these sections work just fine. In my original example, this is where we did all of that animation, but because we are 40 minutes in already into this live stream, I'm going to skip it for now. And if we have a bit more time later, then I'm going to do that as well. So tailor 8. And I'm going to leave it like that. So the next section is the exchange rate, and these are not provided here. And the reason they are not is because you can download and install the plugin. And I'm actually going to try to show you that if it allows me. So let's see that. Plugins, there we go. So these are your plugins. So what I can do is click flags, or return. You have your UI logos. So if I click there, you can use dummy logos. There we go. So 190 country flags. So if I install it really quickly, what you can do is, and I explained this in a course, you have to create placeholders for 190 flags. That's what I did for this particular design. And let me actually bring you back to this design. So once again, if you're interested UI logos, you can do that, and you can watch the course to see how I did it. It's going to pop in right here. There we go. Once it's installed, so you have to create 190 different squares, and then press the plugin, click apply. It's going to apply all of the flags, and that way you're going to get the flags nicely named and organized and positioned into place. Before we do anything, I need to create the background right here. So just use a rectangle like this, and for the height I can go with 242. There we go. And for the distances we can go with something a bit bigger this time, so 150 for example, like this. And for the color we can use that same light gray color like so. Get rid of the border, there we go. And now let's start filling in the information. So I'm going to type in exchange rate, but I'm going to actually take this text from here, Control V, position it right here, and I'm going to call it something like exchange rate. There we go. 24 bold, and I'm going to duplicate that one, position it here. Instead of bold, I'm going to have it be regular and make sure it's right aligned. And today is the 6th, 13th, and 2022. So it's today's date. Position it right here. And for the distance, we can go with 40. So let's select both of them. Shift 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And now let's start adding in the flags. I actually provided a flag, so sorry about that, but I wanted to show you how to generate them using UI logos. So you can click right here and you have the country flags option right here. But let's go back to these flags. I'm going to select all of them, drag and drop them inside. There we go. And I'm going to make sure to nudge them right here. Actually, no, let's do it the other way around. So I'm going to actually create a layout first and then drag and drop my flags in. So let's see the distances here. So maybe go with 40. There we go. I'm going to use the T, type in EUR for euro. And let's see for the size. This is going to be 24 bold, which is this one. There we go. Going to be left aligned, position it right here. Distances can be, let's say, 20, like this. Control D one more time, and here I'm going to say something like this, which is going to be regular. And this is just your exchange rate, basic stuff, same like you do in any other country. Make sure to position them like so, and I'm going to actually group them, Control G, and I'm going to call it EUR for euro. Position it here like so. This is going to be, let's see, exchange rate. Exchange rate. There we go. And now that I created that, what I need is to create a few more copies, but this time I'm not going to use the repeat grid option, or actually no, let's use the repeat grid. I know I'm countering myself a lot here. So 2, 4, 6, we need 6 different flags. 3, 4, 5, 6, like so, and simply extend the spacing a bit right here. Yeah, we can actually do a bit more. So something like this. It's going to work just fine. Hit ungroup grid. And now we have these options. This is what I don't really like about repeat grid, because the first item is right here, the last item is right here. And in my opinion, it should be the other way around. So this second one is going to be USD. Position it here. Third one, Great British Pound. Like so. One is going to be CHF, Swiss franc. This is going to be RUB for Russian ruble. And this final one is going to be yen. So JPY, Japanese yen. And now I need to fill that information in. So USD, GBP, CHF, RUB, and finally JPY. And now that that's completed, all you have to do is select these components, drag and drop the flag inside, and it's going to populate with whatever you have selected. Here we have flag of England, but before we do, actually, I need to select it again, like this. Switzerland, Russia, and now finally Japan. So now that that section is completed, and inside of the course we are speaking about how to make it responsive and to work on different devices. So I'm going to call it once again exchange rate. Exchange rate. I'm going to get these spacings. There we go. Position it right here. It's 150, and I'm going to make a bit of a break and see what you guys are doing in fine in the chat. Thanks, James. Nice to see you here. Nice of you to watch it, and thank you for letting me know that the music is fine. Let's now continue, and I need to create that next section right here. So to do that, I'm going to pop in the image from here. We don't need these flags anymore, so I'm going to locate my images and use this image, snap it to the edge, and let's see, the distance can be 150 once again. So go to here, there we go. And for this one, let me actually hide this a second to adjust this camera. For this one, what I need is to type in some text inside. So I'm going to type in Youth Week Festival. And by the way, because I'm rushing this live stream to finish it off as soon as possible because I have some commitments later, but I still wanted to provide as much value to you guys as possible. I'm speaking a lot slower in the course because the course is over 20 hours long, so that's why I wanted to just let you know that. So this right here is going to be 48. And for the positioning, we are just going to have this one column distance between our elements. I'm going to hit Control D on this one, and I'm going to turn it into 24. There we go. Turn it into box, snatch it to here and then to here. And I'm going to come right here to copy my original text. And you can go back to here and see what I wrote. And if you decide to watch the course, you will see why we chose the text that we've chosen. And there is quite a good reason for it. Finally here, because we created that button, so main button, drag and drop it inside, position it here, make sure to have the same distance of not 41, but 40, like this, and make sure to select it, Control G, we are going to call this one text, there we go, and position it right here. I'm going to put it in the center, Control G to group it, and I'm going to call it, let's see, service. Like that, because we can call it either this Youth Week Festival or service or whatever you want. Just make sure to organize your layers a bit better. Now let's put those two sections here. So I'm going to start with the image. So I'm going to use this one, snap it right here, make sure it's 150, and I'm going to type in what I need to type in below. But before I get started, I want to create that background like that, snatch it right there, and to use this color, get rid of the border. Let me actually check to see if you guys can see this. Yeah, you should see this. That. So here I'm going to use the same text that I did right here. So use Control C because I'm a bit lazy to type today. Control V, there we go. And here we are going to type in something like amazing investment packages. And we're going to have the same distance of 40 that we did previously with the top items. So Shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I always recommend, if you can, make sure to keep the same distances because it not just keeps your design looking much cleaner, but also makes it a lot easier for developers to develop later. So I'm going to have it at 40, snatch this to 40 as well. This is going to be a bit tricky to nail, but I can zoom in just nice and close, see where we are, 42, just 2 more pixels. There we go, it's 40, and simply expand this box down. And now I'm going to actually click and type this in. Now, instead of this, I'm going to go with 18. And I don't know if it is a bit smaller, but can you do something here? Yeah, let's go with, I don't know, let's go with 32, for example. See where we are with this. I think that's fine. Yeah. And now the only thing which is left for me to do is to position a button here. So main button, drag and drop it inside. And make sure to position it 40 from the text. So Shift 1, 2, 3, 4. And make sure to Shift 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. And now just align this bottom edge to the center of your button like this. This is going to give you a nice stylized look, and because these top corners are rounded on our image, I'm going to do the same on this one. So just select it, click it right here. Let me hide myself so you can see it a bit better. So what we need to do right here is to find the bottom corners, so top left, top right, bottom left and bottom right. So just make sure to select this image and to see if we used 20. So we need to use 20 here as well. So here and here. And now we have these two corners rounded up to 20 and these two corners rounded up to 20 as well. Now that the section has been completed, what I need to do is call this, let's see, small card text bg. So when I export this later, when I finish with it, my developers know what I have created. Let's organize these a bit better. There we go. And I can group it, hit Ctrl G, call it small card, position it all the way at the bottom, 150 for the distances. So these distances work well and they are quite coherent. So let me switch myself so you can see me. And what I'm going to do is simply duplicate this card, position it right here, and simply apply that different image because I positioned the image. So let's call this card number 1. It's going to be small card number 2. And here inside of this one, I'm going to select that different image. So let me find it. Let's see, it's in this one. Drag and drop it inside. There we go. And finally, I'm going to use this as the text, so modern digital services. And finally, use this as a filler text. There we go. So now that these two have been completed, I'm going to group them, call it cards. And why I'm grouping them? Because later on, when we create a responsive resize, for example, then we can use stacks and then we can turn this into a stack for mobile layout. So that's why it's quite useful to create these stacks and to organize your layers and groups into stacks. Now, finally, the last section before the footer actually is the news. So we can use that as some sort of blog section. We are already 54 minutes in. So something like 1.5 hours is what this live stream is going to run across. So let's duplicate this one, make sure we are 150. There we go. We're going to type in something our late news. There we go. Make sure it's in the center. It's positioned at the bottom like so. I'm going to create the card background 4 columns wide once again, and I can actually use this one. So select it, Control C. And maybe I can even do more. So what I can do right here is, let's actually take the whole card, Control C, and get rid of this one, Control V, then position it right here to be 100. Let's see, 100. So if I hold my Alt option, you can see it's 100. Position it right here, and I'm going to call it something like blog card 1, and I'm going to call this blog card BG just so that I know what it is. And finally here we will have a bit more text, so let's get rid of this one. And for this card, let's see, for the distances, let's go with 631 for the height. So 631, there we go. I'm going to nudge all of my text down, make sure I'm 40 down, so shift 1 2 3 4. And here I'm going to drag and drop my image. So small card image number 1. There we go. Position it right here. And here, let's see, we can go with 40 once again for this. So let's see, shift 1 2 3 4. Like this, it's 40 from both edges. But now we need to reduce the amount of text here to 2 columns, like so. There we go. I'm going to nudge it down, Control D to duplicate it. And here I'm going to use the text gray option, and I'm going to use today's date. And not to waste too much time, I can simply go right here. I don't know about 6. Should I use 6 or 06? What do you guys think? I'm going to go with 06 for this one. Like so, and this is going to be this for the distances. Let's see, we can go with 40 from here, and then let's see, 40. This can be at 20, and this can be at 40 as well. So we need to move it 1 pixel down, like that. This can be one down. Image can be one down. And this can be one down as well until it matches the image right there. So it's actually 630 in height. So now that that's completed, what I can do is organize things a bit better. Actually, things are already been organized. So what I can do is put this in a group, call it blog cards like this. Make sure to turn on the stack and make this. This is going to be the same, so 60 like that. This is going to be block card number 2. This is going to be block card number 3. Select this image, go to your images, and here I'm going to use this image. For this final one, I'm going to use this image, and let me actually, oops, for some reason it didn't switch the images. There we go. Let's actually click and copy. So this is just your basic blog layout. So if you decide to use the same layout, the same images, same typography, whatever, then this is just your standard layout. So this last one is we are hiring. So if you're watching this website, if you're browsing this website and you are interested in working in this bank, the great place to put that option is inside of your blog. So of course, when you go to the blog article itself, it's going to show you what are the requirements for the latest position. So we can call this one news like that. And then finally, we are left with one last option, which is the option for the strip at the bottom. So let's create that one like this. And let's see, for the background there, we are going to use 180. And I'm going to use another color. Now this color for the text, get rid of the border. Let's see where we are with the distances, 150, there we go. And now I'm going to drag and drop my logo inside, position it to be in the center. You cannot see it, but when you select it, there is a gray state. So when I switch that on, you can now see the logo. So not to waste too much time, what I'm going to do is jump inside of top nav, use the locations selected, Control C, and Control V. And as you can see, it's going to paste it in right here. I'm going to select it, position it like that. There we go. And I need 2 more, so I'm going to hit Control D one more time. Control D one more time. There we go. This last one is going to be the email. Let's see. Email. This second one in the center is going to be phone. Like that, and the logo is going to go to the top. Locations, so I'm going to use the location which I already have in my design. Of course, you can use your locations, feel free to do with this whatever you want. This is going to be the phone, obviously, so let's use that one more time. So plus 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, there we go. And finally, this is going to be hello@bank.com, something like that. And now let's go ahead and switch these icons. So this is going to be the phone icon. So just drag, drop it inside, and this final one is going to be an email icon. Drag and drop it inside. There we go. So I'm going to snatch all of them to be in the center. Like this. There we go. Position the bank right here. And then select all 3 of them and click right here to justify them. So to put the phone in the center of this space to have an equal space between these 3. Now that that's completed, what I can do is just rename this. So let's see, I can call it something like info strip or something, because this is where the information obviously is going to live. So we can group it, call it info strip. There we go. Snatch that to the top, to the bottom, sorry. And final thing to do is to create a footer like this. And I'm going to snap it to here. For the color, let's go with that dark text, dark color. This is going to be footer BG. There we go. Snatch it down to the center. And finally, what we can do is position these. So let me actually check for the time. We are 1 hour already inside. Hey Andrew, nice of you to be here. Thank you so much for joining me today. So what I can do is create one section and to show you how to create that section, and then you guys can fill it in with the rest of the information. So what I can do is click T, accounts, This is going to be 24 bold, this color, so text gray. And let's see, the distances from the top can be 100, for example. So not 153, but 100, like this. There we go. And I can hit Control D, just make sure it's left aligned before I duplicate it. Control D, position it down, use the lighter version like this, use the same color. And then I'm going to type in something like start account, maybe. And what I can do is hit Control G on it. Before that, maybe I can turn it into 18 because I think this 24 is too big. So 18, this color, there we go. And I can position it and call it items, or I don't know, category items, because this account is actually the category for this option, like that. For the category items, I can put in the stack to go to the bottom, and then I can make, let's see, 3 more copies. So 1, 2, 3. And for the distances, I can go with 40. And let me actually copy and paste the information I have already. So for an account, we're going to have something called millennial account, which we explained in the course once again, and finally premium package inside of there. So let's call this one account. And let's see, now I need to create all of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need to have 6 of them in total. So what I can do is group it like this, call it footer items, turn that into a stack and duplicate them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. And what I can do is uncheck that stack, move this last one to here, so it takes up 2 columns wide, and then simply nudge them apart. So each and every one of these is going to take up 2 columns in space like this. So just make sure to nudge them in position and to have the same distance as I do right here. So this second one is going to be loans. Third one is going to be cards. One is going to be invest. Digital. And finally, this last one is going to be other links. And not to waste too much time with this live stream anymore, I just showed you how to create them, how to position them, how to structure them. I'm going to get rid of these ones and actually paste in the original ones which I created. There we go. And just not to waste too much time on writing this information, because if you want to get exactly the same information and everything I created, then you can enroll in a course if that's important to you. If not, then you can simply use the dummy information and do with it whatever you want. So let me actually copy the final text right here, which is also going to be 18. So T right here, New Bank Limited 2022, because that's the name of the bank, obviously. And we're going to go with 18, use the text gray color, snap it in the center. And let's see, for the distances between that, we can go with something like, I don't know, maybe 80 or 100, or because we use 100, we can use that. And finally, down at the bottom, what we can do is position it to be 40. So let's select this. And if anyone is watching inside of the XD team, make sure to start working on the snap feature, so I don't have to do this manually all the time for each and every screen. So a snap feature would be an amazing update. So I can just tell it snap to 40 pixels down, it's going to snap it, and I'm not going to waste too much time. And finally, the same reason I want to do this is because of this. So I have to manually drag it to the top, manually zoom in, start dragging it, start moving it. So please, if anybody is watching in the team, make sure to start working on that update, please. So final thing is to group our footer. So we have the footer background, we have this new bank. I'm going to put it right here, footer items, there we go. Group it, Control G, call it footer. There we go. The last thing to do for this live stream is to unzoom, preview, and see what we created so far. So sorry if I didn't create this section. I'm a bit short on time today, so Perhaps in the next live stream or so, we can create that next section and work on that particular animation. So maybe we can animate that section. But for now, here is how the final design looks like. So we have this hover effect button, nice hover effect here. We have it here as well. And then instead of this whole card animating, we just have this one. And I just noticed what we missed, and I'm going to do it in just a second. So here we have this, we have this section, we have these nice hover effects, and we have each and every hover effect working right here, info strip, and finally footer. What I missed is to animate the nav. So if I jump inside the nav, select my main nav, and here inside of our section, what we need to put it to is to make sure that it stay on scroll. So that's what we are going to do just now. So to do that, there are really several different ways that you can approach that. So what I need to do is to make sure to go to the design, and there should be an option here where it says fixed scrolling. But I don't have that option. So what I can do is turn this into a component, because there are going to be different component states added on later as well. But for some reason, I still don't see that option. I don't know why it doesn't give me the option to stay put. Yeah, well, these things happen from time to time. I really don't know why. But actually, I think I know. So if I position it right here, just outside of this group, then I have this option fixed position when scrolling. But if I put it back in my group, that option disappears. This is maybe because it has a lot of these different elements inside of this group, like this circle, this X, this line, background circles, this gradient, all of this stuff. And maybe it just wants to be sure that it's not going to interact with other elements when I start scrolling down and start positioning them differently. So nevertheless, I'm just going to move it outside of the hero section on its own, position it right here. As I said, in the course, we are going to tackle these and animate them later to switch between all of these pages which I showed you. For now, I'm just going to tick this box fixed position when scrolling, and finally when I preview it and drag it right here and start scrolling, you can see that the menu stays put. Now there is an option which I would like to see, is to tell it, okay, start scrolling, but then go back to the top, because you can see that we have this empty space, and in a real website you would not have this empty space. So if you're working with clients, you can see the hover effect still works, all of these effects still work, that's fine, but just it still has this empty space at the top. So if you're working with clients, make sure to explain that to them, that inside of the code you can actually make a different elements stick at the different rates. So instead of this, when we scroll past it, it's going to go and snap to the top. So just explain that to your clients. They are not going to be confused. XD is still the design software, and it's still a bit limited with these options. So that's why you have to explain that to your clients. James says, do you turn your headers and footers into components for us on other page templates? I think so on some of them. On some of them, I think I do. And inside of the course, if that's what you're referring to, yes, there is a component for the hero section and for the footer as well, for the header, sorry, and for the footer as well. So that one is going to, let me actually show you. So if I select it and show you the original file, let me hide these. So you can see here we have the default state. If I zoom in a bit closer, we have the accounts when it's selected, loans, cards, invest, and digital, because all of these pages is what we are actually going to create later. And here we have the footer as the component, and I did that because it's much simpler to just copy and paste the component, as you saw with dragging and dropping buttons inside. So when you turn the button into a component, it's much simpler than if you don't and you have to recreate it all over again. So that's what we created so far. My second camera died, so I'm going to switch on over to this camera, and it's going to be a bit tricky for me to do this, but let me actually position it right here. There we go. And I want to just remind you finally for the end of this live stream about the discount. Make sure to head on over to the Alex on Design website, Adobe XD Masterclass. Make sure to type in live, apply coupon code to get the 50% off. I'm going to switch off that discount in the next few days. Make sure to use that while you still can, and make sure to get all of my courses, digital design products, private access to the Facebook group, and so much more on my design, alexondesign.co. No worries, James. I'm glad I could help. And make sure to subscribe to the channel Alex on Design on YouTube. I upload every single week over there all about Adobe XD, passive income techniques, and all of the UI UX related topics. So make sure to check it out over there. Make sure to follow me on Behance. I'm Web Donut over there if you're interested. And finally, make sure to check out my Inception design system, which is the biggest design system ever created for Adobe XD. And make sure to find all of it on Alex on Design, including this course which I mentioned, including the discounts which I mentioned. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here with me today, and I really hope you enjoyed this live stream and what we created. Make sure to check out the course and make sure to follow me everywhere which I just mentioned. And until next time, take care.